Bryan Houston, along with Coach Marcus Gold of the Whitehouse Wildcats. The Wildcats getting ready to open the Class 5A Division II playoffs against Montgomery. But Coach Gold, first of all, thanks very much for doing this. Congratulations for getting into the playoffs. I hate to do this, but I do have to ask you about the Texas High win. They beat Whitehouse 51-21 on Friday night, and it just felt like the sky fell in. Tell me what you saw.
Man, that was ugly, wasn't it? I laugh about it now. I promise you I wasn't laughing at the time. It was a great game for them. Don't want to take anything away from how well they played. When you play that bad against a really good football team, and when I say really good, it's a 9-0 team that hasn't come within 20 points of them besides the game before at NAC when they were playing in the rain. When they play really well and you play really bad against a really good football team, that's exactly what happened. We were in position to make plays at times, and we didn't make plays. Were our kids ready? I think they were pumped up and ready to go. But here's the deal, and I'm not just saying this. Is anytime your team's down 48-0 at halftime, that's on me. I didn't get them prepared and ready to go like I should have, and I told them that this week they would need to be up for the challenge because I'm going to get them prepared this week. To play a really good playoff team. And, our scout team has been a combination of starters and second-string guys. We're going to try to give them as much as a realistic look as we can to get our guys ready. The greatest thing about it, everybody's healthy, everybody's ready to go. And then going back to the game at halftime, I thought we didn't really make adjustments. It was you've got to play and be in position to play and make the plays when they come to you. And Texas High kept their starters in for a quarter and a half, and we won the second half 21-3. Not saying that we would have won the game, but we should. If we'd have kept it would have been much more interesting, and we could have done a better job of that. We didn't do great on special teams. We didn't get first downs to move the ball like I like, and they had too many 1-2 play drives, and that's exactly what happened. So. You hate to go into playoffs with a loss like that, but at the end of the day, you're in the playoffs. And let's not forget that we went on a 7-0 run at one point in the year. Let's not forget what got us there. And I think our kids are going to be ready to go.
So, Coach, you look at things differently than I do. All I see is what I look at out there on the field. You see what the reasons for things are. Brayson McHenry, the quarterback for Texas High, was 12 out of 17 for 306 yards. He had 5 touchdown passes. That was in the first half. They had 372 yards at halftime. Was that just a situation where they were that good, or were you guys just busted assignments? What? I don't mean to be.
No. I think
I want to be diplomatic about this.
It's a combination of both. When you in high school football, you throw it to wide open kids, and there's times where they don't make a play, and it's like, oh, and it's okay. Those kids made the play. Those kids can make those catches, and and when you are wrong, you're going to be wrong, and it's gonna reflect on the scoreboard. They were running a lot of 4 vertical game, a lot of 3 vertical game, to where they were looking around and picking their poison and seeing what the hole was in the defense. And again, it's a very good football team, and not necessarily a busted assignments, but there's times where you're not quite there. You're not quite in the spot that you need to be. Or were our kids giving good effort? Absolutely. But in games like that, it's got to be more than effort. It's got to be technique and fundamentally sound, and you've got to make the play. You got to do things that I may not have been able to teach you. You got to do it, and we weren't able to do it in that first half.
So you're down 21-0 in the first quarter, and I know your kids have got to be in shock. So you as a coach and your staff, what are you trying to do to keep them in a ball game like that when things have just gotten off to such a horrible start?
And here's the deal. Here's what was probably most frustrating as a coach is our kids never once looked like they were in. They played hard the whole game. They never there was never a moment where, oh man, we got to get our kids motivated. They may quit right now. There was never bad body language. They just kept playing, and that's what was frustrating as a coach. Is like, I didn't do what I needed to do to get them prepared in this football game, and we need to do a better job of doing that, because look at the type of kids we have. Look at what we have, where we have them at as far as a culture. And if they're going to play that hard and play like that, no matter if they're down or they're up, when we go back to topping that, climbing that mountain, and there's going to be steeps and there's going to be slopes and there's going to be slips. They are able to keep striving and keep climbing. They're able to do that. They're they're brainwashed and wanting to do that and wanting to win. And it wasn't that. It was just, hey, you guys, you've got to make the plays. And at halftime, they came to me and asked me if I wanted to run the clock in a high school football game. And I told our kids, no, we're not going to do that. That's not who we are. We've been in 3 district championships in the last 3 years, and we haven't come away with that win. And we're not going to be satisfied until we get that win. Moving forward, obviously going into the playoffs, but that's the way we want to attack every season. Is we're going to try to. Our goal is to win a district championship and not settle for anything less than that. And our kids were hungry at halftime, and they kept coming out and playing. And in that second half, they kept playing the same way, except they just started making plays. They started making the tackles. They didn't give up any big plays. They only scored 3 points, and that's really all it was. Is when we need to bracket this receiver, let's bracket him. When we need to be in an 8-man box and tackle the running back, when he's a 2 or 3 yard game, let's tackle him. And that's really all that was in the second half.
Now, when we were talking about it on the radio, again, I'm not a coach, but I'm thinking, okay, it's halftime. What is Marcus Gold going to tell his team? And I'm thinking, okay, well, it's 0-0. We got to come out and play well now in the second half and gain some momentum going into the playoffs, because the likelihood of winning that ball game at that point, it's 42-0. It's pretty remote. I mean, it would take a miracle.
Sure. And this is what I told him. If you go out there right now and you play to get the game over with, you're ready to get back on the bus. They're going to beat you 80-0, and they're not going to stop. Mm-hmm. So here's what you need to do, and here's what you need to remember: is we have the opportunity to play this game today. We have the opportunity, like many others don't, to go out there and play. So let's make the most of it. And I told them, go out there and have fun. As bad as it was in that situation, how do you make the most of it? And just saying, hey, I'm just going to go out there and do everything I can to do, and just go have the fun playing the game of football. And when you're having fun, you're usually successful.
Yeah, and then we put it all into perspective. That game was a nightmare. There's no denying it. But ultimately, your season, you're 8-2. That was the only clunker all year long. Even the Pine Tree game was a competitive game. That was the only ball game that's been like that the whole year. And your team is, granted, you missed out on a chance to get a home playoff game, maybe have a piece of the district championship, but you still has so much to play for now as you start in the bi-district as the third-place team against a Montgomery team that we don't know much about. So you tell me what you know about Montgomery.
They've been an up-and-coming program for the last couple years. It's a team that's played in several tie ball games. In the games they've lost, they're 7-3 right now, but those 3 losses were all within 1 touchdown. It's a competitive district when you have A&M Consolidated, Montgomery, Huntsville, and for them to compete and have a home playoff game says a lot about their program. They're optimistic on the defensive side of the ball. They create turnovers. They don't give up huge plays, which allows their offense to come on the field and grind on you. They get in 2-back sets. They have a huge offensive line, big tight end, all collegiate type players. And they run the football on you, and then but what you'll look at the stat sheet is 50-50. They'll pass on a first down, they'll pass on a second or third down. They have a big, tall receiver out there that makes a lot of plays in number 85. So they're dynamic on the offensive side of the ball. You're going to see a ton of different formations, but it's crazy how they can score on you so fast. But then at the same time, they can flip right back around and run 7 or 8 minutes off the clock running the football. So they're an interesting football team, but it's a game that I like our chances in as well. We've leaned on our defense a lot part of the year and stopping the run, and they are a run-heavy football team. We'll have to mix up some coverages in the back end and keep them guessing when they throw that football in the air. And I think we have a great opportunity on the offensive side of the ball to move the ball. And then that's when we've been most successful in the games I know you've called in, is we can move the ball, even if it's not going all the way down and scoring, but we can get first downs and chew up some clock and flip the field and our special teams. And that goes to my next subject. Hey, we've got to play well on special teams. And I think it's a team that we can do some things on kickoff and kickoff return and clean some things up from last week on special teams and have some guys make some dynamic plays on special teams. You know, last week we didn't give out a Cat Daddy award, so we got to give a special teams Cat Daddy award again. And everybody's always asked me what a Cat Daddy award is, so I'm gonna show you right now. You got a second?
All right, let's see this.
All right, here we go. So here's the Cat Daddy.
There you go.
We put this in their locker room.
I like it.
We give out our Cat Daddy award right there. So they you know, what's crazy is they want that award. They want it sitting in their locker room when they come home from a win. So we need to get one of those out this week.
Yeah, because you don't want the Cat Daddy to be homeless.
You can't. Yeah, he's not a lonely. He's not a lonely Cat Daddy. He wants a buddy.
Okay, so so much of this game is mental, and we haven't really talked about that. But what is the mental state of your team right now after that loss and having to go into the playoffs? How shaken was the confidence of this football team?
I think on Monday, you know, we were practicing. They were practicing hard, and I'm talking to our corners coach. I'm like, is there something I need to do to, like, you know, juice things up and get things going? He's like, no, coach, no, I think they're fine. He's like, man, it's just kind of they're kind of in that system. It's crazy. Like, you don't have to come to practice in with some of these guys on a Monday or Tuesday and say, man, we're not practicing hard enough. We need to go hard. We need to do this. He's like, they don't really complain. They just show up and practice, and they're ready to go. So I think our kids are ready to go. I think they were still licking some wounds on Monday. I think we all were. But I think by yesterday's practice, it was one of the best practices we had. Everybody showed up this morning for practice, ready to go. It's been a good practice week. Now, great practices don't guarantee a win. I know that, but they do put you in a great position to be successful. We've had a good week of practice. Their mental state's fine. They understand the playoffs are here. We're wearing our playoff shirts around. I got the bracket in the hallway going. You know, I'm like, Coach, man, how many teams are in the playoffs? It's amazing. You know what some of the younger guys don't know is, like, man, it's 64 teams, and round 6 is the state championship, and they're seeing all these different teams from all these different places. So it's a neat, different, and a different feel for them. So I think their mindset's changed, and they don't mind going on the road. You know, we've been road warriors this year and in the past, so it's going to be okay. Maybe a wet night. You know, I believe that there may be some rain. So I told them, hey, we need to go out there in that rain and let's just go have fun and be sloppy and have a party out there. So it'll be a good time.
Is there any team that you've played this year that you can compare Montgomery to?
I would say a Royce City. You know, if I had to, like, say who they kind of resemble, Royce City would get a lot of different formations. They were pretty big up front. They were great in the run game. And on the defense side of the ball, they play more of a base type defense. So that's probably the one I would maybe compare them to the most. You know, the quarterback's coach's son, and he makes some great decisions in the throwing game. So that's the one I would think they would compare it to.
And I'm not going to ask you the keys to the victory because I know the answer. Stop the run the
yes,
ball.
Sir.
But
yes,
what concerns you the most?
What concerns me the most? Well, just you know, the things that would probably have concerned us, we had concerns on last week, is not giving up the big play. You know, it's okay if a kid hits a run for, you know, 7, 8 yards, 10 yards, but make that tackle in the open field so it doesn't become a 50-yard touchdown, or don't bust that coverage. They're going to make plays. They're going to catch the football and get some first downs, but limit it and keep it in front of you and make sure they earn it going all the way down the field. Don't let it be a 2-play drive. If they're going to score, let it be a 13, 14-play drive.
Good deal. Well, Coach, best of luck to you Friday night. We want to get Cat Daddy a buddy, so we want to make sure that he's not lonely next week. And it'd be great to be playing a ball game again next week too. Yeah,
I got to figure out what I'm going to do in the off season with this, and how I create some Cat Daddy off season players award, because I got to keep passing them around. So. Safe travels for you and everybody else that's going down there to Montgomery.
Well, best of luck to you. We're looking forward to the game Friday night, and look forward to seeing the Whitehouse Wildcats bounce back and get a playoff win in the first round.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that's Coach Marcus Gold from the Whitehouse Wildcats. I'm Bryan Houston. Getting ready for the kickoff. Whitehouse against Montgomery, first round of the playoffs coming up.